used to be a gang warden.
Yeah.
Right.
Which church does he go to?
It's county.
He's a pastor.
I didn't even know.
Wow, we got 2 bars for the wireless. For the Wi-Fi.
Mine's $100.
Kathy, you got a sign? Not yet. I've seen y'all's name around.
I go down to Alabama Light Airport, not far. So, if I can make it there tomorrow, I'll be there tomorrow, but I'll call dependent. Okay. Yeah, I like Jay.
Everything's free. Fantastic. It's covered. LED light. Travel bag. I had no need for it. You will be taking it off. I know it's not junk, but I don't need it. I didn't write that down today, but I got
Of that nature.
run it there.
Good morning.
We have a lot more than what people think.
See some babies?
Huh?
See some babies?
Yeah, babies.
Yeah, not to make you feel old and all. I just graduated high school.
I do too.
Well, I think
Yes, ma'am. It is cuter than though. It's more cute than mine, but you're welcome. Just send it to that email, and if you want to put like a subject, or whatever, just clubhouse or whatever you want to list it as, and just tell me, put your name in the email. That way I can put it in our messages or in our password. When you send it to me, it can be
And Michelle, if you will do the board member roll call.
set up and is functioning. No building permits were issued last month. Conservation and Ecology Director's report, Sand Revival. Roadside cleanup reminder for the following Saturday, December 20th at 9 a.m. Announced the Christmas decorating contest winner was Michael and Paula Carey of 707 Arrowhead Trail, and they would be presented with a gift basket. There's been no decision yet on restarting the yard of the month. He reminds community members to be careful and considerate when burning yard waste. Legal Director's report, Gil Furrow was absent, there was no report. For the website, Jacqueline Welch was absent, so there was no report. Nominating Committee, Leslie Jewell. Nominations for Board at Large are still open and are due by January 7th, 2026. Reminds members that nominations are for the Board at Large and not for a specific seat. The Secretary asks that community members please read the city's covenants and bylaws before submitting nominations so as to understand what they're volunteering for. Neighborhood Watch Committee, Kitty Jarrell, reported an issue with the kayak gate. We thank the Neighborhood Watch volunteers for their holiday contest assistance. Reminded the community of the Extra Eyes and the Are You OK programs and reported 118.5 hours logged. There was no old business or new business. The community member asked if it would be feasible to allow dogs in the park for, as an example, 1 day a month. Discussion ensued, no action was taken. Community members noticed many deer in the neighborhood and wonders if deer crossing signs could be installed at both entrances. The Vice President volunteered to call the state office and see if that is feasible. A community member asked if sellers are required to let us know when they sell. It was clarified that they are, but the only recourse we have if they don't, or the bylaws, is if it costs the association money to collect AMAs later. A community member suggested publicizing the park rules more. A community member reports that a neighbor has multiple untagged and would appear to be partially dismantled cars in the yard. The burn pile is uncharacteristically close to the property line, and they have cut trees down between the properties that previously provided a buffer. Director Piles has called the fire department about the burning in the past, but was directed to North Carolina Wildlife. Community member indicated that she has mentioned to the owner about the DOA community burn pile, but he seemed uninterested. Vice President reports that the county planning person has talked to him and advises that she will send a letter and call the county inspections department again and try to work on the cars issue. The community member does not think the neighbor is living in the bus or outside. Vice President solicits volunteers for building and enforcement, presented the new Yard of the Month sign made by Marshall Evans and to be painted by Susan Sterretworth. 1019 was closing in prayer of Vice President Kathy Grimes. Sorry, I flubbed a couple there, but
We do have to change to Jacqueline's name, and that's her last name, so.
all right. Sorry about that.
Is there any discussion, clarification, corrections? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion to
Second.
approve the minutes.
Thank you. I'm gonna not follow the report order because Jacqueline needs to, get out of here, so I'm gonna let you go first to give us our website communications report. And there's a microphone over there. Sorry.
There's left turns on, you have to pull it. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. And Happy New Year to you, because I think that's everybody. Okay, the reporting from November through December 10th of 2025 reflects a total of 171 site visits to the website, of which 117 of those were all new visitors. That's really all I have to report along those lines. Just made some small changes to the website because I wanted to add new community highlights as well as on the calendar on the front of the website. So of course, if you send any via my email, arrowheadjacqueline@gmail.com, I will make sure that if it's a community highlight, it will be highlighted on the front page, in addition to the calendar. Okay? Thank you.
When you say community highlight, what does that represent?
That's like events, special events,
Right.
anything that,
Coming
like
up,
for this
okay.
month, like I put in the nominating committee. Last month, I think I had something about, well, I still have the thing about the ride, because I think it's it's needed in the community, so people know that if they need a ride, to be able to, stuff like that. So anything of significance. Okay, thank you.
I forgot to mention that we have some visitors here this morning. We've got the sheriff and Deputy Lynch, is it? Thank y'all and welcome. Do y'all have anything you'd like to share with our community? Give us an update on what we need to do to stay safe or whatever?
You want me to get to the mic?
Please, yeah, we want to make sure we hear you. We record it so people can look at it online. It can't be at the meeting.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not touching that. Good morning, and thank y'all for allowing us to come here this morning. I was talking to some earlier. We only come if you invite us, because we don't want to come in and kind of feel like we're taking over anything, or people feel like, oh, we're being watched. But thank you for the invitation this morning. We'd like to talk to you a little bit about, things that are going on in your community. One, we know we had a break-in over here in the park recently, and we're actively working that investigation. We just found out we got new video today that maybe we can hopefully find out who did that, and we can proceed on that. The other thing is, one of the biggest things that we get calls about are the small little break-ins, and someone going in someone's car, rummaging through stuff. It's a different time, people. I'm old enough to remember you used to be around town and leave your house open, your car unlocked, nobody would mess with it. It's different times. They're looking for change, they're looking for anything. Don't give them an opportunity. Lock your house, lock your shed, lock your car. We call it target hardening. Make yourself a harder target. Outside lighting, keep your bushes trimmed back, things like that. So when our deputies are riding through the neighborhood, they can see things. You saw it here in Edenton recently, the vandalism that went on downtown. But we'd seen a video where the guy literally watches the police car coming down the road, step back into the shadow for just a minute as the car goes by. They know where darkness is their friend. Lit up areas are a hard place to hide in. Other than that, I hope you see our deputies riding through the neighborhood, patrolling. I tell them all, you've got this great big billboard, let it be seen. Roll your windows down, you see somebody, ask them how their day's going. You get a lot of information like that. Don't be afraid to talk to us, don't be afraid to wave us down. Even if it's just to wave us down and say, hey, how's things going? Everything good in my neighborhood? Is anything going on I need to be aware of? They're the boots on the ground, they know what's going on. And they know only what they can see, but you know what you see and you pass it on. So we appreciate that. I will say the community policing aspect of this. I did community policing for a few years in Elizabeth City. Y'all already have this figured out. As far as needing a community policing officer, you don't need that. But we have deputies available to talk to you. And the reason I say that, because all community policing is empowering the community to police itself. That is, I heard you talk about knowing who to contact and get a sign, knowing who to contact and get property disputes settled. That's what community policing is empowering the community to take care of itself, knowing who to contact. We can help you with that, but you've already got that figured out. So kudos to y'all. Y'all have a great thing going here. And to keep that up, that just, yes, involve us. Please involve us. So that we'll know certain things. But if there's any help we can give y'all, 42-44-44, 911 if you absolutely need us right then. But anytime y'all want to
Good morning. So I'm Kenny Lynch. I just want to kind of piggyback a little bit off of what he was saying. Y'all know this community probably even better than I do. I've only been here 8 years. Some of y'all have been here probably longer than that. If you see somebody in the area that's not a resident of Arrowhead or even Chowan Beach for that matter, odds are they're probably up to no good, especially at night. So if you think something is suspicious, don't just shake it off and say, well, ain't nothing happened, we'll call when something does happen. We would like to get ahead of it, that way we can at least get some names of people that are in the area. That way if we do have a break-in, we have a to follow up on. Also, like he was saying, even if it's dummy cameras on houses, they don't work, they're just visible to the people, it may deter them from breaking into your stuff. Obviously, it don't help us a lot if they do break into it, but hopefully it'll prevent them from breaking in. I do have a question that I guess it was a couple months ago. Y'all were talking about the website and contacts and stuff like that. We had a vehicle that was pretty much abandoned over the entire weekend, and there was nobody for us to get up with to get this vehicle removed. It wasn't really causing a problem, it was just a suspicious vehicle. I would just like to know if there's I guess a way for y'all to notify dispatch that there's a person of contact on weekends, because I contacted the number that was on the website and I couldn't get up with anybody. So we may need a secondary or a primary person over the course of the weekend so we can get those matters handled.
We'll work on that and see what we can come up with and let you know.
Okay. And like I said, the best way for us to do that is to pass that along to dispatch, because I may have the number, but I may be off. So at least dispatch can pass it along to whoever is ready. Is there any questions that, oh yes sir.
Is there like an age curfew or something that people walking around at night, you know, like young ones or old ones?
Yeah,
What would be a good cutoff?
there is a cost, and you know the exact time.
11 o'clock, I believe.
Yeah, and
10 o'clock weekdays, 11 o'clock weekends.
I think it's under the age of 16, if I'm not mistaken, for the ordinances and stuff. Are you seeing a lot of that?
Where I live, there's a lot of people 2ish in the morning walking up and down the street. I'm so close to Chowan Beach, I don't know if youngins that live in the area or they're from Chowan Beach.
Okay.
Where my dogs get me up all the time, that's why I was kind of curious about.
How often is that happening?
About 3 nights a week,
Normally during the weekdays,
more for the weekend.
so more than likely it probably is kids out of school. Yeah, I mean, even with that, if you can't tell the age, but you see somebody out walking around, give us a shout. More times than not, we're gonna have at least one deputy on the north end and one deputy on the south end. So it should be somebody responding fairly quickly to at least identify them.
So what would be your response time, on an average, if we call with a non-emergent call, what would you say?
I can't really give you that because it's all dependent on whether we're
Staffing and,
another call or what end of the county we may be on, but as far from my experience, typically, I would say no more than 10 to 15 minutes, no matter where we're at.
One thing I wanna say is that we have a neighborhood watch group, that's fantastic, so in terms of that, police, neighborhood policing, they really get a lot of kudos for, especially this kid. I can't hear you. So I was complimenting the neighborhood watch group, saying how they were fantastic, and so they really are instrumental in our neighborhood, policing. The other thing is, I think it was last week, there were gun shots for like about a half hour, 40 minutes. I called the sheriff's office, as soon as I did, they stopped. Are you aware of that situation?
Yes, sir.
Where was it? Was it here?
I don't think we were able to
flood dispatch with calls, but a lot of times with shots fired calls and stuff, we'll receive one call and nothing else. So,
I have a feeling I was the one called.
and it may be, but,
See, when I call that time, and then it's
Yeah.
not the moment that I call.
but it can kind of help us in a way pinpoint too, like if you're calling from one area of Arrowhead, somebody else is calling from another area of Arrowhead, we can kind of expand our search rather than saying it has to be right on this road here, since they're the only one to call.
Mhm.
So,
So neighbors, please call. If that happens,
Well, one thing that I'm sure everybody will agree with, we have problems with speeding vehicles. A number of years ago, we had AJ that came in and we had people that do a running stop. You know, there's a stop sign, but they don't stop between that. And, you know, I think within just a few days, it stopped, he said 100 cars at least. Now, and it's residents, I know exactly where they live, young people and whatnot, that I got passed on, just before you get to Nixon's, your 35-mile-an-hour speed zone on a double yellow line. He passed me after he had rode my back end. I heard 2 more reports, I had 2 more people tell me that the same thing had happened. So we know who's doing it, but how do we get you here when they're doing it? I mean, how do you report when you see somebody?
Yeah, I think
I'll
that's,
sit back.
so, if you'll go back and you'll look, historically, the sheriff's office did not have a traffic enforcement section, basically. We went for years without any radars in the cars, it wasn't a priority to us. Now, every patrol vehicle has a radar unit in the car, and we just about got all the deputies trained and certified in radar. And they have started working, out here around Nixon's and stuff like that to get word out. Instead of blue lights, will slow people down like that. And that's what we're trying to do. Warn, and now we're also able to track our warning tickets. So when we give you a warning ticket, if you get stopped next week for doing the same thing, we get a notification that you've already had that little bite of apple.
I think
It's
this
time
young
to
man
have
has
it.
already had his warnings
So,
really long.
and that, there, so once we start pulling them up in the system, we're gonna stop. The problem is, even though we're the smallest county in the state, it's hard for 2 or 3 deputies to cover and be everywhere all the time. So usually, we pick a time of the day that we get a lot of reports about this, and we'll send the deputies to that area to, we call it wolf pack. Basically, 3 or 4 of them are in the area doing nothing but traffic enforcement, and it's kind of like zero tolerance. It depends on the amount of complaints we get as to where we deploy people at, but we also have to try to, we can't say we're going to deploy every single time to Rock Out area. We have to be consistent in the county. Sometimes we have to go to the Collin area, sometimes we have to go up to Gladden area. So we have to cover the whole county so that we're not targeting individuals, even though we do need a targeted response. But we have come a long ways from 5, 6 years ago when we didn't have certain things. And that's thanks to our commissioners understanding. They don't want us to be highway patrol, and it's easy to be a highway patrol when highway patrol is not in the area. But it's also, we also have calls for service. We go to every single EMS call to help assist EMS because, like everyone else, they're short staffed right now. They need assistance. Usually our people are in pretty good shape, lifting, helping lift someone out. If there's a situation going on, fire department has a rep. We go to the reps, we help direct traffic, keep firefighters safe, help highway patrol, make sure they get. So every little call pulls us away from what we. If I say, hey, I'm gonna go concentrate 2 hours in Arrowhead Beach, it might get 30 minutes, it might get 45. If we're lucky, we might get a whole hour. But we can't guarantee you how long and exactly when we'll be there.
Well, I had suggested for different ones that reported it and whatnot. First of all, to kind of get the times of day that they see coming in. A lot of times, you know, school buses and they're passing school buses. A description of the car and everything. All right, all that information, what do they do with it once they've got it? Contact you, but don't you have to catch
So what we do is, and we have to do the same thing, when we're out of our jurisdiction, we don't have authority to do anything, so the best thing to do is be a good witness. Collect as much information as you can. It really helps if you can get us a license plate. Does anyone in here run a car in their camera? I mean, a camera in their car? I have one, just because I'm worried about all the other idiots out here on the road. And my son has one in his car, he just started driving. Simply because, now, once you got that car goes by, oh, all you gotta do is remember, look at the time, go back later, download your SD card a little bit, get a picture, send us a picture. And you can send it to sheriff@chowan.ncs.gov, or let me ask you this real quick, how many of you have our sheriff's office app? Okay, if you don't have it and you have a smartphone, I'm gonna sell it real quick. It is awesome. We don't use it to bug you with a bunch of notifications that you don't care about. We only send out things that really are affecting the community. Because my daughter lives up in Raleigh, Wake County just got it, and she's already turned theirs off because they send out notices about every single thing there is. But she's got all her people that she works with up there watching Chowan County. You can go on our app and you can find out who was arrested, how much their bond is, you can see a picture of this person. Oh, I saw them the other week at such and such. These are things that are out there. This is a great tool for the community. It'll let you know important events that are coming up, or if we've had a bad crash in the county, we try to put that out so you'll avoid trying to travel that way. If you don't have it, please download it. Go to your Play Store on your Android or Apple, whatever, Apple Store, and Chowan Cty Sheriff. Download that app. There's also a way for you to report stuff to us through that app. And people want to be anonymous. This day and time, nobody's really anonymous. But we don't give your information out. We don't tell people who told us about this or that. We just go to the area and we work there as best we can. So, did that answer that aspect? If you have complaints about speeding and this and that, let us know. We still have the radar trailer. It's deployed right now on Macedonia Road. We can deploy it back up here again, and we like to give a 10, 15-day notice with that, and then we start coming in and hammering the.
Could we get on a schedule, like a regular schedule, or no?
I'll talk to the sergeant that does that, and maybe, every couple of months or so, however often we need to, just get back in there. Yes, ma'am.
The last time we had it though, and I asked for a report afterwards so that it would, give us an idea of where we were. It was interesting that there were the percentages and whatnot, and I was told nobody was ticketed because there wasn't there was 37, 38 that they could have ticketed. Of course, nobody was here when they went through there. But that 10 from 25 to 35 was not ticketed. You couldn't ticket them, or
We
is it?
can, so technically, if the speed limit's 25 and you do 26, we can ticket you for 26. But the reality comes down, it's gonna get costly. The judge is, if we were stopping for every 5 to 10 over, we'd stay on the side of the road all day.
Yeah.
So there's an amount that it's a hard number, and we'll put you in a pink copy.
Here.
And we like to give a warning, and then the second bite is state citation.
That works.
It does. So, yes, sir.
Doesn't that little, mobile thing, doesn't that issue a ticket automatically if the radar? There's nothing in it, except the radar.
So North Carolina is the law here is we have to witness. So a radar is just a tool that we have. How radar is used in North Carolina, we have to be able to sit there and form an opinion of your speed. And then the radar only validates what our opinion is. And we have to be plus or minus a certain amount to technically issue the ticket. We're issuing a ticket on our observation, not on what that radar says. So that's why we're not allowed to do that. I mean, I can't sit down the road and watch that sign. If I'm not radar certified, I technically can't sit down the road and watch that sign and write tickets off that sign. Because also, after every enforcement action, we have to test and calibrate our radars.
Yeah, I gotta stop in front of,
So radar certified guys, he can answer those type of questions. It's been 8 years since I've had radar certification, but, it's one of those tools that, just like highway patrol, now, when you see a car coming, a police car coming at you, we can get you coming at us, we can get you going away from us, we can get you coming up behind us, we can get you pulling away from us. The radars are really advanced compared to what we first started with, so, and you guys are doing a great job.
So y'all, please not put in on brakes, cause they gonna get you any way you go.
You already got it.
They got
I
that
knew
part
you
of
get
it.
that. Nope.
Yeah.
I was coming, down Virginia Road and, I just slowed down fast enough from the quick ride over 45.
Yeah, and I'm not telling you if you get stopped to, just let it ride in court and not contest it, but North Carolina is the strictest in the country just about when it comes to radar certification. So those that are certified with radar, and their radar says you're going a certain speed compared to what we thought, you're gonna probably be found guilty. So, I mean, that's how accurate they are, into being able to transmit, you know, what that radar is picking up off of that vehicle compared to our judgment, or observation, I guess you would say. So one thing to keep in mind with the radar is, like he was saying, is just because you're going 40 in a 35 don't mean that we're stopping every single car that's going that 5 over, because like he was saying, we will be parked on the side of the road for every other car. And, you know, like if we are designated to Wolfpack, Cape Colony, y'all are gonna want us at least to be up here some too. So if we're stopping 75 cars in a 2-hour time span for going 5 over, we're not being here for y'all, and y'all are just as important as those people are, even though we're down there, so.
And it's a balance, because yes, we're doing traffic enforcement, but if they know we're doing traffic enforcement, let's stop the neighborhood hooligan who breaking in your house. If we're targeting this, we're not patrolling the rest of the neighborhood. So we have to find that fine balance to be able to do everything that people want us to do.
Thank y'all so much, appreciate it.
Yeah, one more
Thank you.
but- Can we as an association buy one of those little radar things, not on the trailer like you park out there? I see one in Hertford that they
So
got
you
down on the
can
light.
buy a sign, you can buy license plate readers, you can buy all that stuff that you want. And I know, some HOAs are buying license plate readers so they know who's coming in their neighborhood. I don't know exactly what the cost of them are, but you can buy the speed radar signs and stuff like that. So there's companies that sell them, that mount to look like street sign and just record your speed.
But what would you do with the information if y'all don't have to witness it, it's
So
really
it's
not.
basically a deterrent.
Yeah, just a
It,
deterrent.
it's just like our patrol car. If
Yeah.
you see a marked patrol car ride through your neighborhood, you're more likely to police yourself a little bit. Or if you see a marked, you know, what's the first thing you do? You look down and see what your speed is. Oh, I'm speeding. Yeah, that's basically the same thing. It brings awareness. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna let you go, and we're just gonna work down.
Okay.
Reports.
Good morning, everybody. To start off, Sheriff's already noted that we had a break-in over here. Somebody a few weeks ago, wasn't on the cameras, went and broke the hasp on both the bathrooms at the gatehouse. So there's new locks on there, and hasp been replaced, and a little bit of stuff they trashed, I took care of it, so they're back okay now. And there were some kids out in the park, one day when they was open, and Roxana called me and said, hey, somebody's in the bathroom. Let's go. Oh yeah, I thought they were locked. So there was a bunch of kids out there, and they didn't tear too much up. They decided to play hockey with a broom and a big bottle of hand sanitizer in there, and make all kinds of noise and racket, and out drove Roxana crazy in the office. But nothing major was damaged, so I took care of all that. So that's the size of that. It took the sheriff department maybe 10, 15 minutes. Nothing emergency, so we did ask them to come out real quick. But I stayed there and they took and made a little note of it in their system. Back to the swimming area rope. We have it out here by the dumpster. There's a jillion broken buoys on it. It's the yellow plastic, but where it's been sitting in the water, it's deteriorated in the last 4 years. So we're gonna get price and get one piece of rope that can be stretched around so we don't have to try to tie it together. And we're looking at sometime in March for some volunteers to come and help us take some of the good boys off the old rope. We got some new boys in the barn and rebuild it, and then we can put it back out with a boat April sometime when the water warms up, so we have the rope and swim area.
I have another cup in my car. Thank you.
Myself and James, we went around here and took care of some leaks around the office over here in the big parking lot, around in the park here area. And we're doing some more of that. We found a way to blow leaks off the road without running more blades, so James invented a little thing with the Kubota and the big leaf blower, so don't have to carry that heavy thing around. Green Goblin's gonna come in the park at the end of March before our annual meeting, mow and vacuum all the leaves and everything up, so me and James don't have to spend 10 days doing it. We've got money left over from where they didn't go in October to pay for that, and still have money left, so we'll let them do the work. They got a brand new spanking vacuum machine that he bought last year, so his is better than ours is. If you know anybody that knows how to work on mower decks in this old Craftsman, I've gone in there and tried to adjust this, that, and the other thing to get the mower deck up off the ground, but nothing I do seems to work, so if anybody knows about that, let me know. And if you notice when you come in, there's no equipment sitting out under the lean-to anymore. All the mowers and all the tractors, the cement mixer is all in the barn now. So.
Looks good.
So, the old vacuum machine's still there and mowing deck for a couple things, but all the lawnmowers and stuff's in the barn. Building control, no permits issued yet this year. There's a house gonna be going up on Oneida Trail between Steve Mullen and the Islesworth house. I talked to him Thursday. He's getting his county permits, and as soon as he gets those, he'll be filling out our permit for the house over there. I seen some cement trucks in here yesterday going down that way. I'm gonna go check out and see what they were putting cement on, because if they're building a house, I got no permits for nothing yet, so. I have a new building permit log for 2026 on the computer in the office here, first part of the week. We're making some additions to what I had last year, so there'll be more information for that, in case somebody wants to look at it if there's a permit. That's about all I got. Have a nice weekend.
Good morning. I'd like to thank everybody for showing up for the roadside cleanup last month. We had 14 volunteers, removed 8 bags of garbage off the side of the road. The next roadside cleanup tentatively is scheduled for the third weekend in March. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Good morning. Tonight is supposed to have been a potluck dinner tonight. We have canceled that last month. We were anticipating floor repair here in the clubhouse. That has definitively been scheduled for January 20th. We thought it was going to be a little sooner, but it is now definitively scheduled for January 20th to the 23rd. So no potluck dinner tonight. We are going to have another spontaneous Saturday. I've been trying to do a few of the spontaneous Saturdays, and so today we are having a board game during the afternoon. There'll be several different games to play. You're welcome to come, families, anybody in the community. You feel like you want to get together with some people, play cards, play a board game, just a little bit of community side of the clubhouse. We're gonna continue that 11 to 1. Now, the leftovers are gonna be donated to the food pantry. But my suggestion is, if you do participate in potluck dinners here and you want to partake some of the goods here for that purpose, or you need it for whatever purpose, even if you just have a personal need, or you know a neighbor that might appreciate it, please feel free to take it. There's empty boxes there and bags for your use. And if you have ability to assist me in getting some of these boxes down to the food pantry, I would appreciate that help. I just have a small car. We do have a lot of food. Oh, thank you. We got the floors. Okay, so February, that brings me to February. So I do hope to bring back the potluck in February. And I do hope to have Dance the Winter Doldrums Away, like a little community dance with some live music. And we did that, I think it was a year ago. And it really was very, very nice. So I'm hoping to do that again in February. And this time, I'd like to have a mixture of genres of music. So a little rock and roll, a little country, something for everyone. Maybe throw in a waltz, because it would be February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, and you might want to dance with somebody. So, it's not strictly for sweethearts, though. It is a community dance. So whether you dance, or whether you just enjoy watching music, or whether you just like watching dancers, it's just a night out. And that's all I have for you. If you have any questions, comments, thank you.
Sounds good.
Oh, that's right, you did one.
Okay, let's see. In December, we had 4 property transfers. Newsletters are still going out in March with the ballots and the proposed budget for voting. The office reopened on Wednesday at 10 a.m. And that's about all I got.
I guess they say the best for almost last, huh?
Still got Kitty in.
Okay. Well, good morning to everybody. I hope everyone got a pack. Oh, I hate to say.
That's so other people on the video.
Turn it off for me.
Testing,
No,
testing,
I can yell.
testing, testing.
No, I won't. Oh, well, good morning again. I hope everyone got one of these this morning. So we have a lot of information to cover. So basically what you have in front of you, the top sheet, is directly from the QuickBooks. That is your profit and loss for the month of December. So for the month of December, we received $230.32 in AMAs. We had one clubhouse rental for $100. So that left a total income of $330.32. Now, expenses. For administration, we had the $5 bank fee, $50.16 if we had to pay the collection agency, $40 is for the bank, which is merchant services. When you, the property owners, use the feature online to pay with your credit card, we have to pay a fee on that money. $268.29 for the internet, which is MediaCom. Office supplies was $52.32, and that was still repairing the file cabinet on my desk, so it has some locks so no one can get in and take any deposit money or look at personal files or, POA files. So we have that secure. So as far as administration, we spent $415.77. For events and programs, $32.89. That was a reimbursement from Lynn for her purchases for, I believe, the potluck. And then Public Works, this is Bill. For fuel and propane, we spent $169.65. Pest control, so we don't have our little friends going around the building, $200. Utilities for the entire association, $302.01. Waste management, $209.99. So total public works was $881.65. So total expenses for the month of December was $1,330.31. So if you compare your income versus your expenditures, we are at negative $834.24. Now, this does include the interest that we received for the CD and the interest that we received for the reserve account. So if you will turn the page. So these are the different balances. This is the balance in the bank and then the QuickBooks balance. As far as the CD, including the interest that we received so far, is $25,144.13. It's the same as QuickBooks. The operating funds in the bank is $808,283.84. What we have now as of December 31st is $7,512.45. The reserve account is $93,520.93, and the same in QuickBooks. The credit cards are zeroed out. We have not used the credit cards, and I think that's a good thing. So here's where it gets a little confusing, and I have a few things that I need to explain to you, and I'm going to be very honest about it. And I'm sure you might have some concerns, but we are working to make things better, and I want to be as transparent as possible. And please, after I'm done, you can ask me whatever questions you need to. So right now in accounts receivables, we have $47,682.56, and 26 cents, excuse me. So many numbers. And that has dramatically increased from the last meeting. And in just a moment, I'll explain why. So now you'll see you have an AR collections, which is $27,559.95. Then you have another AR court accounts, which is currently right now at 0. So then under that, you'll see expenses, collections, fee accounts. That's what we're paying the collection agency, and that amount is going to go up. The court collections, those are fees that we've had to pay to the court for those people that we're going to be taking to liens. And then we're going to be having, unfortunately, to write off some of those funds. And you have here credit memo, $17,000, which is extremely high. I'm going to go ahead and begin to explain, and just hold your comments until I'm finished, please. So on October 28th, the former president, without board approval, entered into a contractual agreement with American Profit Recovery. She assigned a volunteer to handle those accounts. I was not appointed to this position until December. The former president went ahead and did another contract agreement with the same company, and the volunteer wasn't aware of how exactly you had to reformulate QuickBooks, because the situation is once you do not have 100% control of your collections and they involve a third party, then you have to take it out of your regular accounts receivable accounts. And that wasn't done. So I have been working to do that, and it's been very tedious. So I did not, so when there was a situation in September, I went ahead and took full charge of the books. And since September, I have been trying to fix this. When I took over, I contacted the collection agency to get an idea of what was going on, and I had no rights to access any of the information. Only the former president and 2 volunteers had access. So that took a while to get that fixed. So according to the statement from American Profit Recovery, 75 property owners were sent to the collection agency. We collected $9,530, but we paid out $4,443 in contractual fees. Now you had Tier 1, and whoever was sent to Tier 1, we got 100% of their payment. The problem came when they were put into Tier 2, where we only received half of their payment. The other half has to go to the collection fees. See, that wasn't done. So some payments were not applied properly. it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So here's the breakdown. Well, so far, we still have in collections $32,368.85. I still have a lot of work to do on there, so that amount is gonna go up for us pretty quickly. So the breakdown right now for the collections is active, accounts and collections is 35. 21 accounts were canceled. Well, what does that mean? That means that the volunteer that placed those individuals as property clerks and collections later took them out of collections because they promised to pay. Well, they have not paid. So that means I am doing letters and following up. You have, so that's 21 of them. So we have 2 disputes that are disputing the amounts that are on there. So we cannot do anything with those at this moment until the disputes have been resolved. 19 of them did pay, but there were small amounts that were sent. Payment arrangements, we have 1. So basically, the contract says that we had submitted 75 accounts, but 78 show up. So things are still a little fuzzy. So, any questions on this? Okay, all right. So, now, Gregory and Associates update. Gregory and Associates have successfully completed 2022 and 2023 here, but the person that owned it is deceased. So this is something that we need to discuss with the board to have some type of protocol to address this issue. And maybe we need to obtain more information from our property owners in case of an emergency, so we can contact them. Now, there have been sales of property in which property owners do owe assessments that they have sold the property to someone else one-on-one without the help of an attorney. And if that takes place, then we're out of luck. So that's where the bad debt and write-offs come in. So I am hoping to have everything done by the end of this month, the rest of the collection letters, the 37 that I have to do, and fixing everything in QuickBooks, so I can have a better presentation for you on February. So, now that I have confused your day, yes ma'am?
Yeah, going back to the collections and whatnot, where state what we've already got, the 32,000, and it says, is that 50%, if they collect that 50% ours? I didn't,
No.
I'm still controlled by collections, 32,368.
That is the amount that was placed in collection, the original amount. Yes, and then there were, well, no, that's not the original, that is the amount after the payments have been made from some of those property owners. That's what's left in there. And I'm not saying it right, Kathy.
Well, in other words, is 50% gonna be ours, or, okay.
Okay, I got you, yes. That 32,000, let's pretend everybody paid, we would only get 15. 15. We don't know, 15,000.
Half of that.
See, that's just too many numbers now.
Half of that, yeah, 16.
We would get 50% of whatever that number is. Okay, and the reason it has another line item in the QuickBooks is because we do not have 100% control of that debt, which means the collection agency determines what happens to that debt indefinitely. So if we want that in tier 2, if we want to get that account back, we have to pay the collection agency the 50% of what's owed. So it's a situation that it's unfortunate, and we are going to try and seek legal advice to see what's the best course of action. Because they do have remedies that they can take to recover some of this money. It's not pleasant. It could be, foreclosing, the homeowner could lose the home. So it's a very detailed or complex contract that was signed. And because it was signed by the president, we may have to honor it. So we will find out after we seek legal advice, which would be later on this month.
What's the length of the contract?
Indefinite.
The contract is indefinite?
No.
Yeah. They hold control of that debt indefinitely.
Oh, that debt. But I'm talking
The
about-
debt.
Nothing else has been done with them.
Right.
So that contract is over.
No, the contract's still active. The contract is still active.
I think we're asking the same question, but not.
Maybe I'm not understanding what
So
you're
the,
saying. I have a copy of the contract here. After the meeting, you are welcome to read it.
Okay.
That way, if I'm not interpreting it right or understanding it right, you can read it for yourself. No, they will hold those accounts indefinitely.
Okay, so the accounts that they have those right now.
No new
But
accounts.
no new, that's all, that's what we're asking. The contract is.
Yeah, no new accounts.
Going forward.
We're not sending them not one more account. We're trying to resolve what they already have.
Yes.
But anything new that would come.
No, you're gonna deal with me. I think that's easier that way, don't you think? Deal with me. In my might be, it might be. We have had, as a result of those letters that I sent right after Christmas, we have had people, property owners come up and they are making partial payments and they do want to work with us. I think that's a better way of doing it and just talking to them. And if we have to take it to the next level, according to the bylaws, we need to have a hearing, we need to meet with the property owner, find out what the situation is. Because some people do have financial difficulties, especially the elderly that are on fixed incomes. And maybe we can see how we can help. But I don't want to do anything harsh, but we also have an obligation to pay our AMAs. So, any other questions? Yes.
First, I want to say Roxanne has done a great job. It's one of the reasons why I jumped on that finance committee, because I've seen you in action, I've seen your eyes and everything. One thing that came out of our finance committee that we sent to the board was to have a professional company manage this HOA. It seems to me, over the years, and from when my father-in-law lived here back to the 70s, that this has been a problem and it's torn apart this community forever. We have a constant struggle between who's on the board now and who's doing something they're not allowed to do, which now we see. We're all finding out about another nightmare from another committee. If we allowed, or at least formed an exploratory committee to interview some professional companies that do this for a living, this would stop this infighting and not understanding what's happening, because this is a complex business that's being ran. And we have a lot of people that serve on these boards and in these positions that maybe don't have exactly the background they need to do this properly to serve the neighborhood of 700-800 property owners. This was kicked back as a no-go, non-starter because of costs to have somebody else manage this without ever forming an exploratory committee. And here we're finding out we've lost at least $20,000, maybe more, in collections by decisions that are being made by people that should not be making decisions. And it really doesn't matter because if they don't have, there's no ramifications for making poor decisions. Nobody can be held accountable on this board or anywhere in this neighborhood for making decisions on $140,000 on cutting down trees or putting in windows that don't open. And we're losing our money. We come here every single month, you hear the same problems. If we had somebody else manage this, and you still have your board members doing everything they do, and they do a great job, no one's discounting that, but they aren't put in the decision-making role that they're indemnified to making poor decisions, or decisions that don't represent. Because I guarantee you, there's a whole lot of people that they want their stuff going to a collection agency, and people are going to be forced out of their homes, and they have no say in the matter.
Mark, have you lived in one of those places?
I have, and it ran very well.
I lived in one out in Nevada. Nobody can afford it. To get into that, each person had to pay a big bunch of money, and when we moved, we had to pay money to get out
Every
of it.
situation is different, and it's just an exploratory committee. It's not saying we're doing it, it doesn't happen overnight.
I'm just saying, it costs money. Right now, we are all working to go back and make sure we're following the bylaws. I
Bill, I totally
gotta get
understand
some
that.
estimates on a few things, but we're trying to get estimates instead of saying, hey, come and fix it.
Right, I totally understand, and I respect the process, because I've served on an HOA board where we had a professional management company, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. They took care of all the issues, and there's issues like that.
It might be different back here. I know what it was out there. It was weird.
Yeah, I was in Hampstead, so it was just 3 hours down the road. You know what, it's all gonna, that's what an exploratory committee finds out. I can't answer that question, nobody here can answer that, but to just say no, blanket no, we're not ever going to even look.
Yeah,
So we can
it might be worth looking
So
into.
can I clarify what, you're just asking that a committee be assembled to explore that as an option?
Look at a couple.
And I think that's perfectly legit, and that will be,
It really, because Roxanne is not gonna be here forever. She's gonna fix all this. And in a year or two from now, she's gonna be living in the Caribbean or something. I mean, who knows? she takes all the money, you know? It's gonna be a beautiful thing for her, but she has put in countless hours doing it. Yeah, I mean, it's insane. Nobody's been doing this like she's been doing it.
Okay,
And at that point, if it's 2 years down the road, it gives the board and the community an opportunity to discuss
I'm
something.
probably the oldest one on the board, I'm turning 80 this year.
And I love your community very much.
thank you so much, Mark.
I see no problem at all with at least looking at it.
Right,
I mean, that's
Right.
crazy not to at least look at it.
Yeah, let's not just kick it back with it, because there probably will be a cost, and you're 100% right on that. There's no doubt about it. Sure, there's gonna be a cost, but we just lost $17,000.
yeah.
Yeah, but it does.
And maybe more.
But usually those HOAs, you pay at least 100 a month. And there's many people in here that are on fixed income, they can't afford that.
But that's what exploratory committee will come in.
That's what the
to
committee
understand that.
will kind of look into. So I would love for anybody that's interested in signing up to be a part of that, to sign your name somewhere, either back there or up here to us, and, we'll certainly look into that. How long are you gonna be here, Mark? Are you gonna be here long enough to
I
help?
can leave tomorrow.
Alright, thank
But
you so
I
much.
was saying, if, the finance committee wants to pick that up as an extra, I have no problem talking about that here.
Great, thank you so much. For those of you that don't know, Mark is leaving, he's moving to Arizona.
So,
Oh
I know.
Yeah.
For $50 a year, you never had to deal with it. You could just let me out and eat care what it is.
All right, Gail, are you prepared to give us a, bylaws legal update?
As everybody knows, I've been sick, so, I think I can speak loud enough. I've still got some things going on. I'm waiting to get some final results of some things and see if there has to be a further treatment plan. If there doesn't, then we're gonna resume, hopefully by the 1st of February. If there is, then we'll have to cross that bridge. So that's all I've got on that. We have not met this month.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Kitty, are you ready? I have a microphone, or there's one over there.
I never thought, because my kids in the neighborhood, when they were growing up, I went to the front porch and I hollered. And they heard me.
Just use that one, just use that one. Okay.
Coffee back there, y'all, there was.
Okay, this is kind of repetitious of what we've already heard. During the time frame, Neighborhood Watch has had extra eyes on property while the owner was out of town. An unexpected package was delivered and we took care of that. There was a report of a break-in and the death of a family pet reported, and I understand the Sheriff's Department investigated this. Homeowner noticed a man approaching another neighbor's mailbox. They made themselves visible and the man changed directions from the mailbox. Another report of a look-alike person was observed sitting against a tree in the vacant lot for more than an hour and was later seen walking down Arrowhead Trail. It was described, so this is something that, like I said, he's around the neighborhood, could be a neighbor, but I think it's important. He was described as a tall man wearing camouflage sweatpants, and is that me? And pants with a brimmed hat on under the hood of his sweatshirt. And he was out during the daytime, and he was observed at night sitting in a vacant lot. So also a water leak at an unoccupied property was reported. Large dogs were reported in the park, and the locks on the gatehouse were busted. And I understand, and I want to make sure, at a later time is when the bathrooms were entered by young people and the acts of vandalism was done. This is only a few of the Neighborhood Watch Committee incidents that we've taken care of. And they've learned, the committee has learned, because I had somebody call and they say, this is secondhand. That's okay, because they've learned the value of see something and say something. So I'd like to ask all the neighbors to think about that. When you see something, report it, just give a neighbor a shout out, because you can make a difference. There's a neighborhood sign up sheet on the back table. Also, If you're interested and you're going out of town for the weekend or for the week or weeks, we've done one for the entire summer. We watched the home and everything. So there are sheets back here also for information, telephone numbers, and contact people if you would like to have Neighborhood Watch look over your home. So Neighborhood Watch hours report, we report 110 hours from December the 19th to January the 7th.
Pass it on to Colleen.
Oh, Colleen.
You're there for, newsletter. Do you have any newsletter, update, anything?
No,
No update for?
no, the only thing is that, you know, the information that has to go in there are about candidates, about with their bios,
Yeah.
and then the budget, and that'll also go into the newsletter. And then
The next
anybody,
newsletter will be budget and nominees.
yes,
For
and,
sure.
and also ballots.
Yeah.
Ballots would have to be in there as well. And anyone has any kind of article or any kind of event, even if it's like your family celebrates somebody's 50th wedding anniversary, something like that, just shoot us an email and, you know, we'll put it into a newsletter to celebrate, you know, stuff that's going on in the neighborhood.
And that will be going out when approximately?
We have to look at the numbers, there's certain dates that you have to send out by, so it's either gonna be in the end of February or beginning of March. It's got a 30 days prior to it. Yeah, so that has to go out, and we can send it out earlier, but we can't send it out later than that, right? And I understand there might be an issue with the new copier, that in terms of paper size, does it do the, what is it, the 17 by?
It does literally, it does literally legal size.
So it doesn't do newsletter size.
I think it does big ones too, doesn't it?
No.
No?
It does less legal, does not do what I said it that we normally.
Okay, so then my recommendation would be to purchase for $200, the black, canister of black ink for the, where's the old one? Where's the old copier?
It still works out.
Is it there?
Yeah, I think there's still some ink in it, I don't know.
So there is, it probably will run out. So I would say that might be an investment we might have to do. I am a little concerned about the smearing, cause that's gonna get worse over time.
What about converting the newsletter to page size that we can use the new copier for? Is that, I mean, that's got to be the solution, we
Yeah.
can't just keep using the old copier.
I know, the only thing about that is, print size. We can take a look at it, we can go ahead and put one on a thing, you know, redesign it in terms of the size, instead of the old ones, and see if we can put on the legal size paper, we can try that. Print size and, ballots and everything else going in there might make it a little tricky, but we can try, we can see.
That's the long-term solution, because we can't
Yeah.
keep using that old machine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pass it to Leslie for nominating committee, report.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Are we not gonna have the opportunity to see the budget until it is already prepared and ready to be voted on? Will we not have any beforehand?
Oh, so everybody looks at me, huh?
Well,
It's ready, it's been ready, we just need the board to, look over it, make sure you
Well,
know.
that's what I was gonna say, just, to see what it is before it pops, before you.
Yeah, we'll do that in the February meeting.
Yeah, we can go over that. More of me, huh?
Just so you know that historically, and I don't know if it's in the bylaws or not, but historically, the proposed budget is, presented at the January meeting, and then the board is supposed to approve it with themselves, that they all agree with that budget at the January meeting, so I can ask the same question.
Well, that hasn't been done, so.
Okay.
But we can have it for February.
And then we schedule some, opportunities for people in the community to come, like say in the evening. Oh, I think we did like one Saturday we did one Saturday and we did 2 evenings, so people can come at their own time and be able to hear the budget. It wasn't always well attended, but at least we gave out that opportunity for community members to come and, hear a presentation on the budget.
It's pretty self-explanatory at this point, but yeah.
But we have new people here, we have other people that wanna be itemized so much, you never know.
But I'm gonna do a narrative to explain for certain areas where they are, so. they
I think
have
that's an excellent job.
Well, and we'll make sure that the announcements going out for the February meeting, emphasize
Yeah,
anybody interested in
yeah.
questions about the budget to
Before
be
we
here.
review the budget and, approve the proposed budget.
Any other suggestions about budget communication and sharing? Thank you. Leslie, for nominating committee,
Okay, well, it's with different Bratton are assigned all committees for the APLA, effective immediately. The information is to be turned over to the people that are on our committee, and I will no longer be the chairperson, and I will not have to report.
okay. Do you have anybody from your committee that wants to can give a report today?
I don't know, and I don't know.
You haven't heard back from anybody? Okay.
Do we have any candidates?
You wanna update us on what you have?
One specific candidate and one iffy candidate. Michelle Burgess will run. Bill Tyler. You can get a verification whether or not he will run.
So, Bill, you haven't turned in your,
He has.
notice to
Yep,
run?
there's a letter in Arrowhead Beach's email. The new Arrowhead Beach, I sent a copy of my letter there about 2 weeks ago.
So, you're running for the board is my question, yes or no?
Yes, I sent
Okay.
it.
And Michelle, so we have two, people who are running, and we've all been trying to recruit other helpers to no avail.
Which there is seat that's open.
It's Lynn's seat,
Oh,
yeah, and I've tried to ask her to think about it, but she says 4 years is enough. All righty.
And this is the
And
problem that can be alleviated with a manager. I mean, honestly.
I hear you, Mark.
But it is,
I know.
this is a challenge every year. Nobody wants to run and then they get in a hot seat and it's horrible.
Yeah,
And it tears the community apart.
yes.
It just does.
You're preaching to the choir up here, brother.
Well, as a member of the nominating committee, I will say that Leslie sent out a letter to all the nominating committee members. The 4 of us have resigned.
I haven't gotten any notification that
Well,
for
you haven't gotten anything yet, no.
Okay.
All 4 of us have resigned. One woman who, responded back said that she will not be a part of it any longer. So there's really only one person left,
And that's Jacqueline?
and that's Jacqueline.
Okay, we'll have to come up with another nominating between now and then.
So you do have deadlines that have to be met, and, that's that. I don't want this thing. Well, I don't know,
We don't have a president, so there's no president's report. I'm the vice president, and my primary, jobs September, and that's only 3 months. Michelle and Roxana have looked at the job descriptions in the bylaws about who's supposed to be doing what, and, based on just history, because we had a paid person in the office who was doing both secretary and treasurer for a while, when that was stopped to present, there has, and that's been about, I don't know, 5 years, give or take. I'm not a historical person, but it's been about 5 years. There has not been a consistent, practice or understanding of the duties for the secretary and treasurer. And in the meantime, we've had some folks in the office who have taken up many of those job duties because they were forced to. There was not anybody else to do that. The secretaries weren't able or willing. The treasurer wasn't able or willing. I don't know the whys and the wherefores, but that's kind of the situation that we've been handed in September. So in an effort to figure out who's doing what and how that needs to be overseen, we've had to change the priorities of the office. And that didn't go over well, and I'm sure everyone knows that 2 of the office volunteers, services have asked to no longer be used. I have not heard from the other 2 office volunteers, but sometimes change can be very hard. It's always hard, and nothing that's been done in this decision to follow the bylaws like we were being asked to do. That's the whole crux of what has happened, is an attempt for Michelle to understand what she's doing, for Roxana to understand what she was doing. Roxana was doing a lot of stuff that the secretary should have been doing. So my job, I thought, was in a that's still under discussion, because this all just happened.
Right.
So, yeah, so, back to the office right now, I haven't heard from the other two, volunteers, so I'm assuming and, hoping in the meantime that they're gonna continue to work with us to keep the office open and be cooperative with folks when they ask for information or need information. So we appreciate everything everybody does, and, hopefully, as we move through these growing pains, and whether we go to a higher person in the office, to a management company, things have to change, because we can't operate the way we are. I mean, it's very obvious that we have trouble recruiting volunteers, board members, we have trouble, it's just like he said, it's this way every year. And, I mean, we have 800 homeowners, and there's 20 people in this room. And so, times are changing. We want to do things that are more, automated. That's phone service that we're paying a lot of money for, that's never been implemented like it was supposed to be. Roxana has worked with MediaCom, so, you're going to be able to leave a message for a specific board member. So you'll get a chance to leave a message specifically for me, Roxana, whatever, and then, on the regular office voicemail if you don't want any of us. So, that's going to be, implemented very soon. So when you call the office, you'll have the ability to talk to leave a message for that particular person. The other thing that we're looking at to help with some of the scheduling of the clubhouse is to have a calendar, sort of like an Outlook calendar. I don't know how all that's gonna work, but it will be made available so that you, as a property owner, if you wanna see the clubhouse is open for a specific date, you'll be able to have the ability to look at an up-to-date calendar online to see if your weekend is available or whatever. So those are yet to be worked out, but that's what's in the planning stage. Anybody that's interested in helping with any of that, we would appreciate it. I'm sure Jacqueline's gonna be involved, and MediaCom people are gonna be involved, so it's all a work in progress. And again, I remind you, this has just been since September of 2025. So this is where we're at. Yes, Kitty?
You're talking about going back to the bylaws, and of course, we're in the process, we're gonna work on notes and everything.
Right.
But if you go back to your rules and regulations, your park rules and regulations, that also differs from what the bylaws are saying, because it's the secretary that is responsible. That's what the parks rules and regulations. It's taken out of the hands of Parks and Rec. It was changed and moved over to the secretary duties.
I don't have the rules and regulations, and the bylaws and restrictive covenants are the rules. They're what we go by. I don't know where those rules and regulations came from. It's an addition to the bylaws and the
That's
RCs.
where it talks about your membership card and what you can do in the park and what you can't do in the park. It was given to us when we purchased our first house in
It's
this.
a policy, basically.
Yeah.
That was done many, many years ago. It was before I.
It's been redone. We redid it back several years
Is
ago.
there mention of it in any of the, documents, in the RCs and the
I'm gonna
bylaws?
say it says something like that, thought that was one of the documents that was supposed to be on file.
I've
Along
never
with
gotten
this
one.
method.
I've been here 5 years and I've never gotten one. I know people keep talking about that booklet, but it's not an official document. It's a
I may be able to go and find it for you online.
I
I
have
found
it.
the other thing.
This is not the new one, this is the one where the committee worked on, just like the 2008.
Well, I think it's kind of not necessarily matter if we hire somebody. That person's gonna be.
Well, I was just saying, it's something, whatever the board does to make sure that your committees, when you're redoing the bylaws, you wanna make sure that they're gonna fit in, and if you're gonna cost this, there's a lot of things that, like I said, where it talks about membership cards.
That
and-
needs to be on the legal committee.
I kind of think, if I recall, you remember that
saying, and I agree with that, is that document may have been approved as a policy, but that document doesn't exist in the
Right.
bylaws.
Right.
So it may be that you use that document to see if there's something that's missing in the bylaw that should be there, and compare.
That's a great idea.
For
So-
rentals and everything.
Yes.
Make sure that that committee that's working on these bylaws has access to that.
I have a copy of 2013.
Thank you, Kitty. Yes, Karen?
I just have one thing to say, that the group that met to discuss the job description of everybody in the office and what we should be doing and not be doing did not include any of the office people. We were not asked before the group got together, we were not asked what we did, who we answered to, we were asked nothing, am I correct? We had no idea that this was even happening. And, we were blindsided, being told everything that we've done incorrectly, that we haven't answered questions correctly, that we haven't handled money correctly. And, because of that, Leslie and I are no longer there. And these ladies do have something to say as office people. But I just want to make that very clear that we were not asked anything before the three people got together to decide what we do, don't do, should do, can do, might do. And we have worked in the office since before COVID with really very little, I don't know of a whole lot of complaints from the people that live here. You know, we've done our job, and that's all I'm going to say to defend us, because I don't think there is any defense needed.
Yes, ma'am.
Say what I got to say. I have been a volunteer, this is a letter dated today, January 10th, 2026, to the APOA board members. I have been a volunteer in the office and other committees since before COVID. We have been through a lot of obstacles with several new board members each year and a new office. Most of the board members have welcomed our knowledge and our commitment. I was volunteering for the community that I love. Unfortunately, things have changed. Our office procedures, our office practices, which we have honed through the years, have recently been questioned and scrutinized without consulting us. I cannot volunteer for someone that does not appreciate what I do and what other volunteers have done. I hereby resign and withdraw all my services from the office and all committees of the APOA. Respectfully, Rebecca Posner.
We thank you for your service.
Okay, this is to the board also. Due to some disagreements with some of the board members, we cannot answer any questions for our members or the ones that are interested in buying property here. Have to relay everything to either finance or secretary. There's no point of us being here anymore. Any answering machine can be set up for that purpose. We try to get in touch with Roseanne and Rochelle the other day because someone wanted an answer, but we could not reach either one by phone or by text. So you nominated from here. Yes.
I think the board needs to,
Just the letter and the key.
okay. I do thank you ladies for your service. I'm sorry that it had to come to this. I think we were all hopeful that you'd be able to help us with the transition, but we'll carry on the best we can and, move forward the best we can. As I say, I'm sorry that it's come to this. So let's move on to,
First of all, I think that you ladies have been absolutely awesome in the office. And, you did come on after COVID because I was the president when COVID started. So, but the fact that you all pushed in, right after our board, left, has been amazing. I would ask, as a property owner and as someone who will call you friends, that I'd like you to actually reconsider. And, I understand that the board has to go by the bylaws as everyone has asked them to. And so there are specific duties that are assigned to specific people. But that doesn't mean that, volunteers can't be in the office to chat with people, to, greet them, to answer the phones, to leave take messages. So, I'm asking you to reconsider.
Two of us can't.
What does it do? You cannot answer any questions anymore.
Well,
We don't have the whole story.
You're only hearing it from one side.
I'm hearing it from all of you right now.
Yeah, somebody comes in and wants to know something about the financial stuff. You cannot answer any questions, even though it's on the computer.
But that's okay.
And it's the way, it was
But let me, how did that go with the nominating?
You
How
know,
did that go with nominating committee?
We have decided that as volunteers, the way all of this was presented to us, and I'll be very honest, I blew up, and you know how I can do that. The way this was presented to us, I think shows very clearly how volunteers are looked upon in this community. We're just a dime a dozen. And, well, the way we were presented with it, if you had been there, you would have felt the exact same way. We just hang out. We weren't really doing anything in the office, we were hanging out. Are the exact words that were used. And as a volunteer in this community who has been on many committees and made a difference, and even with some of the people that people in here no longer respect and you're wrong, we made a difference. When I was on the finance committee before, we made a difference. We showed what was going wrong in the office as a treasurer, what was going on with the treasurer. We basically were told we don't have any ability to do anything, and.
But they are going by the bylaws, so unfortunately, that's kind of how.
When you're, first of all, when you're told that when the office, we took a vacation, we were told. When we took our vacation, we were told at this meeting, I don't wanna go into this meeting, but we were told that we didn't check the phones enough. I went in every single day. I went in every single day of my.
You and I talked about it, and I.
No, there's no reconsideration. Okay.
I think it would have to be addressed now. Becky and we have got a beautiful team together, and we're proud of our ability to serve the public in Arrowhead Beach, because they seem to really like coming to the office. We've changed what Karen should have said, we've changed, and Becky, updated rules if we needed to, in order to accommodate what we had to accommodate, because they were constantly trying to figure out the rules and regulations. It had nothing to do with the rules and regulations. The anger that happened at the meeting, it was a disrespect understand the actual animosity that was given to the four of us. Karen's very verbal and doesn't stop. I was verbal because I have my own problems going on at this moment. And that was the big thing, because nobody had done anything that was wrong. The disagreements were because, I don't know, because they didn't like things that we had done all along. But you had to like Becky, because Becky sort of kept everything together.
And I appreciate hearing from you guys, and if y'all would like to stay and speak to the board after the meeting, we'd be glad to hear what you have to say. It was a unanimous board decision to, realign the office, and, it wasn't any one person, it was the board's decision. So, it's hard, and I'm sorry,
It could have been done differently.
lots could have been done differently. And if, if anybody wants to hear what the straw was that broke the camel's back, we have a audio tape of the 2-hour meeting.
Which
So,
was not
it's,
done with our consent.
it also shares how I tried to present what we were doing in a very civil, organized way that just devolved into chaos. So, enough of that. Is there any, other new business for the order of the group?
I sent an email to a, HOA
Great,
management company, right?
you just now did. Okay.
Yeah, there's like half a dozen in my line,
Yeah.
right, in this North Carolina area.
Please forward them to.
I'll get with Roxanne to make that street.
Yes, I was doing that when this whole started. So we do need to have a board vote on, approving the resignations of Helga and, Becky. Can I have somebody to say aye? We also, everybody in favor of accepting their resignation? Aye. Those, in dissent?
Can I say something?
Sure.
Well, I was here during the upheaval or whatever happened, and I will say, they walked into one hellacious mess.
Yeah, it was a mess.
And I think people need to understand that's a hurtful feeling, I guess, because she has done some things there. I've lost contact with the office in the last couple of years. I don't go in there, but I'm just saying that this group did come in and it was really something unbelievable. So,
And we do appreciate that and understand that and remember that. Yeah.
I just want to say we appreciate these people that work in the office, and I was going a lot of times, and they were all stuff, and they would drop by and stuff. I just think they did a good job, and I'm really sorry it's not happening. We just appreciate their work, and we think they did a good job. I don't know what happened with new rules, new regulations, and all that stuff, but, and we just thank them, and I don't know if they'll come back, but maybe it's hard, and it's time goes by. I just want to thank you for your work.
Thank you. Any other items of interest? Alrighty. Bill, do you mind closing us